proceed.
Thank you. I'm here to testify on the administration's $9.4 billion rescissions package. This package reflects the Trump administration's steadfast commitment to cutting wasteful federal spending, antithetical to American interests, and correcting our fiscal trajectory. Over the past 5 months, members of this body and the House of Representatives have consistently requested that the administration send a rescissions package to codify the work of DOGE into law. The House of Representatives recently passed this package in full, and it is critical the Senate swiftly do the same. The rescissions package is not a new one, though it has fallen into disuse over the past 2 decades. Every president, from Gerald Ford through Bill Clinton, successfully rescinded funds. Rescissions were often bipartisan and were once a regular feature of the budget process. In fact, in the past 42 years, only 3 presidents have not proposed rescissions to Congress. Today, I sit before you as the first White House official to testify on a rescissions package in decades, if not ever, to explain the proposal and demonstrate the administration's commitment to reining in federal spending. The package the Senate will soon consider was carefully crafted with input from Congress to cut funding the American people find wholly objectionable. The proposal would rescind $1.1 billion in funding to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which has funded a politically biased public media system that has promoted radical and divisive ideologies at the American taxpayers' expense. Republicans have campaigned on cutting funding for NPR and PBS for decades, and with good reason. Many members of this body have made the case eloquently, and the leadership of NPR's own actions and testimony have left no doubt as to their agenda. There is no longer any excuse for tax dollars to subsidize these radical far-left networks. If you would like to donate to them on your own, you are more than welcome to do so as a taxpayer, but taxpayers should no longer be forced to foot the bill. The proposal would also rescind $8.3 billion in funding for the State Department, USAID, and other foreign aid that has been used to advance left-wing causes abroad to the detriment of the recipient nations and our own. It is critical that this body and the American people writ large understand that many foreign aid programs use benevolent-sounding titles to hide truly appalling activity that is not in line with American interest. For example, under the guise of so-called preventative care within PEPFAR program, Americans have been funding the following: $5.5 million to LGBTQ advocacy in Uganda, $800,000 for transgender people, sex workers, and their clients in Nepal, $3.6 for LGBTQ activism, free training in pastry cooking, psychosocial counseling, a cyber cafe, and the dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti, and $1.1 million to produce Gender Transformation in Diverse Social and Behavior Change report, which advocates, again, quote, gender blindness. Most Americans would be shocked and appalled to learn that their tax dollars, money they thought was going to medical care, was actually going to far-left activism, population control, and sex workers. To be clear, no life-saving treatment will be impacted by this rescissions package. Anyone currently receiving life-saving treatment will continue to receive that treatment. In fact, over $16 billion worth of global health funding will remain after the rescission, nearly $10 billion of which is dedicated to PEPFAR alone. This will take 2 to 3 years to spend out, and of course, this is after the U.S. has provided $120 billion through this program, or over $6 billion each year since its creation. We're now up to $10 billion per year. At $37 trillion in debt, can we not pull back $400 million? Other examples of the type of spending proposed for rescissions are almost comically wasteful. For example, complex crisis funding money went to voter ID in Haiti. Development assistance funding has been used for net zero cities in Mexico, electric buses in Rwanda, and critic powder in Madagascar. Global health money went to the International Planned Parenthood Foundation and UNFPA. IECA funding went to social media mentorship in Serbia and Belarus. The Clean Technology Fund was used for wind farms in Ukraine. The list goes on. The American people didn't fund this. They didn't intend to, at least. They didn't vote to continue the Washington status quo. The entire federal government must be responsible with each taxpayer dollar that comes to Washington. The American people voted for change, President Trump stands ready to put our fiscal house back in order and put the American taxpayer first. A vote for rescissions is a vote to show that the United States Senate is serious about getting our fiscal house in order. I hope that the Senate will join us in that fight. I look forward to answering your questions.